on sustainable projects. Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Andre. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Talk today. but I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Talk today. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Are you kidding me?
Hey girl, what's wrong?
My eyeliner foundation.
She makes his coffee, she makes his bed, she does the laundry, she keeps him fed. When she was 21, she wore her mother's lace. She said forever with a smile upon her face. She does the carpool, she PTAs, doctors and dentists, she drives all day. When she was 29, she delivered number 3. And every Christmas card showed a perfect family. Everything runs right on time. Years of practice and design. Spit and polish till it shines. He thinks he'll keep her. Everything is so benign. The safest place you'll ever find. God forbid you change your mind. He thinks he'll keep her. She packs his suitcase. She sits and waits with no expression upon her face. When she was 36, she met him at their door. She said, I'm sorry, I don't love you anymore. Everything runs right on time.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us. You see, when you have such a fantastic team, slight apology there for, as they'll probably say, my pilot friends, bumper takeoff there. Clouds overhead, should be clear skies ahead. But thank you, the fantastic team here for working their way through the little technical glitches that find their way in the systems at time. And this is about, another indication of how life comes at you fast, and you just need to learn how to embrace, the challenges. Be reminded of the resolve that you have, the endurance to go the distance. As I think Dr. Borden once shared with us, she read a book, life is about, a game to be played, and if you ever want to win, you got to start, and if you, don't quit, persevere and press on, you can get to the end. And the success can come in many forms. Maybe the personal goal that you set, you may win in so many ways. Well, let's have some open line between now and 1 o'clock when we have a chance to celebrate the month of May as a Child Month and welcome our friends from DCFS and the like. What's on your mind? What is it that is happening? I must share that since the public announcement, some were caught flat-footed, others were like, long overdue. This idea that we're going to tackle the traffic situation by restricting cars, many have weighed in, some publicly, some in other ways as they relay their thoughts. Well, is that the most pressing issue? Is it one that is long overdue? Is it one that would really bring any meaningful solution? Well, you may want to weigh in and share. Certainly always good to hear. You may want us to talk about something else. Let's go to the phones. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. How about yourself, man?
Man, sitting up praying for some rain. I see the clouds. I see the rain, yeah.
Man, what's that song? I see the rain and hail of thunder.
Yeah, it's soon come down though. It's soon come down.
Yeah, man. It's on its way. It's on its way.
Yeah, man. That's why I mentioned that situation there with the vehicles. Yeah, all I gotta say about that, Sterling, is I don't know, and I can understand one point of why they didn't broadcast it to the public is because of, like what they said this morning. It could have caused a fluctuation or overflow of people quick and anxious to grab a vehicle before changes were made. I can understand that part, but what I am not fathoming and what I'm not grasping is the amount of things that government has implemented into this country lately that has not been brought to public before it has been implemented. And that is where I struggling to understand why government is throwing these things out at the public, and they're hurting the people, but yet when the next 2 years arrive, they got to say they were helping the public. I brought it up this morning on OC show that those people that are struggling to make salary, and I mentioned it on your show yesterday as well.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that this new law or this new bill that passed Monday. They are the people that this gonna affect. It's not gonna affect the man, Sterling, that making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month for him to go buy a fancy vehicle. It gonna bother the man that is making $200-$300 a week.
Mm-hmm.
That can't afford to buy nothing more than a $5,000 vehicle. Because remember now, when you buy that car from Japan and it costs $700-800 US to get it here, especially here on the block, and have it cleared, it'll run you then about $5,000 or $4,000 by the time you pay duties in clearance and everything else. These are the people that it's going to affect, because for you to have for you to purchase a car in a bank system, you have to have the amount of money accumulated into your savings in order to cover, let's say, $5,000, $6,000. You got to hold that in your system in order for you to borrow that. If you don't have that, you left high and dry with nothing. And these are the kind of people this is going to bother. And it's not going to alleviate the amount of traffic on the road. It's not going to bring that in a justice. Because, like I said before, when we accumulate the amount of people that they want to bring in this country overnight, the amount of cars to occupy those people then is going to double on the road again. So it's not curing the problem, but the government is creating problems for the locals. We are suffering for the rich. And it goes back like what the Bible said, the rich can't sell, the poor can't buy. And I don't know. They need to reconsider things before they jump into conclusion to try to alleviate the amount of traffic on the road. It's a big concern. Even though I live here in the back, I know it's a concern, but they need to remember that who is going to affect in the long run. Those that, if government raise the salaries of people, then it won't be a problem. They'll be able to afford a decent car.
But it's unfortunate though, because I think on one hand we have some of the public, and I won't even try to say what percentage, but members of the public who commended the government. This should have been done long ago. There are others who said, well, it's a foolish measure because it could create classism, making the price of the existing vehicles on the island even more expensive, prohibit people from, as you shared, being unable to purchase a vehicle because of the income bracket. But then there's some who would say it hasn't even gone far enough. Maybe we need to restrict vehicles to certain people who are on permit or altogether.
Yeah.
Any of these, though, will probably elicit an emotive response. The question is, though, are we addressing the issue properly? As you were sharing, I was looking at a couple of messages from our listeners and said, we still haven't resolved the public transport issue. One individual even put in the point that, as we've heard just yesterday alone, there are vehicles on the roads that just by observation would appear to be on-road worthy, right?
Yeah.
So whether they are or not, I'm going to go on the premise that they're on the roads because they're passed inspection, they're properly licensed and insured. We don't have that kind of behavior to the contrary on our islands, right? Let's go on that premise.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Talk to me.
And that is the problem with why they're looking into this as an issue. It's because it's not a people's fault. It is the ones that are passing these vehicles that are unworthy to be on the road, because some of them don't have, they supposed to have 4 doors, they got 3 doors. They're not got no hood, they're not got no bumper, they're not got no lights, they're not got no brakes, they're not got no proper steering. They're not got no shocks. All of these things are a danger on the road to other safety of other people. But it is the rules that falls from under the Department of License. How can they license a vehicle of such, and then it falls under the private sector of the insurance companies or government companies, whichever the insurance they're using? All of this boils down to one thing: if they can't license and insure it, they can't put on the road, and these cars comes back on the road. Basically, you can call out of the dumps. That is what creating issues in the Cayman Islands, that causing them to look into restricting these vehicles coming from Japan. Now, I'm not for the vehicles coming from Japan. I am against it because here on the block we are starting to see a rapid increase of vehicles every week, every month. But it has to come down from the Department of License. Stop licensing these old unworthy vehicles and do with it. If the vehicles coming from China doesn't pass the criteria of what the license department recommend, well, that is the person lost. They can't put them on the street. And it doesn't matter what year, because I've been seeing a 2007 vehicle come here in pristine condition underneath, the engine and the interior and the exterior, compared to a 2018 vehicle that you can see been through an accident, and to me is very unworthy to be on the road. But it all depends on what the license department is going to do, and some of them will not license it, and some of them will license it. So the government, they need to crack down on license departments with these vehicles, and then they might come to a proper solution.
Right.
Until
But remember, right?
Go to the immigration board.
Yeah. That on Grand Cayman, I don't know if the practice is still seeming to back, and we do have a couple of callers, so respectfully we'll get to them in a second. But on Grand Cayman, there are private entities that can inspect the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
man.
Good chat.
Talk again, bro.
Talk again. Thanks. So let's take this other call. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Sterling. It's Carrie from the Brack. I hear my buddy there, Mr. So-and-so, calling in. You better bring me some eggs. Anyways, I too want to voice my concern about the fact this new act that's been passed with respect to bringing in cars from overseas, and after a certain amount of years, they're not allowed to bring them in. I think we need to clean up what we have in the system now. And like you say, there's all these vehicles that, I've seen them in Grand, oh my gosh, and you wonder, the front bumper is tied up, the back bumper is tied up, there's no trunk, there's a big old dent in the roof, there's no glass in the windows. I mean, you don't have to have that, but you should have it. It should be a criteria. And they're on the road. How is it that you can pass that kind of vehicle driving on our road? And what we need city wardens. I've said it years ago, and I'm saying it again. We need city wardens or district wardens that all they do, their job is basically to police the district or the island or whatever, daily and nightly, have them on a shift. That they see what's going on, because some of these vehicles come out at night. Some of them may have front lights, some may have back lights, and it's a mess. It's not here in the Brack as much. We don't have that prevalency. We do have an increase in vehicles. I agree with the previous caller. Yes, we do have that. I've seen it increase here dramatically since I've moved here. But a lot of it has to do with people buying property up here and Caymanians coming up here for weekend getaways with their families, and which is great because they're putting money into our economy that we need so bad up here on this island. And they bring up an extra vehicle, and it's usually an importee or something of that sort. And it's not on the road every day, but it's already into the community, injected here, so it's already here. But I agree, we need to do a sweep. If that means we have to temporarily put these city wardens in place to do a sweep night and day of vehicles traveling on roads that are in a very bad presentable condition, look like they can't even make the speed limit. Some of them they can't get up to the speed limit, and they're so unworthy. Tires look like they're about to fall off the rims as well. They have no side mirrors. They don't even have any mirror inside. So when we look at those vehicles, how is it possible that you can get those passed? And that is where the problem starts. We need to get to the inspections that are being carried out. And somebody told me this before, and I haven't really done it to say, because things like that I would do. I would take an unworthy-looking car and try to pay some, say, hey, can you pass it for me? Here's $100. And I've done that before for certain things just to see if that person is corrupt. And then I report them. So that's the situation that we have. We need to see if the people that we have commissioned to inspect these vehicles out there in the private companies, because that's where the majority of the corruption is occurring, in the private companies that are doing those inspections, their staff, and commission to inspect them and see if they are being corrupt and if they're the ones approving these vehicles on their inspections so they can go and get them license, nip that in the bud. And if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then cancel the contract and get a different entity to deal with it, or just select one or two. But there's several that, I think it's like 5 or 6 private businesses that the government has listed that can inspect your vehicles. And I think that that's where the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, like I said, those city wardens out there day and night policing the island for that sort of purpose could also make an impact, like we do with culling the damn cats and iguanas. We can do the same thing with people in the car, on the roads as well, traveling in bad vehicles, looking like I don't know what, and talking about restricting them from coming in. And I agree with the previous caller. There are a lot of poor people in this country who need a vehicle but can't afford the $1 million ones. And I would like to know, why did we take duty off of electric cars and I guess hybrid cars as well? Why did we do that? Because only those the rich and elite can afford to bring them in. Why did we give them another present? We need to stop giving the wealthy in this country presents and start giving those presents to the poor. We got it all confused and twisted and turned around. And I'm sorry to say, but every time you give something free to somebody who has millions or hundreds of thousands or very, a wealthy person, then that's telling me that you're just kicking our poor people down the road a little bit further and making their lives even harder. No, we need to start hitting up the rich people. And you know what else, Sterling? There's not enough of them to vote you out of office anyway, or vote you in. So you better make sure you protect the poor who don't have any money, but who will vote you in or vote you in as well. Anyway.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Let's take this other call. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for sharing.
Hey, good afternoon, Sterling.
All right, man. How's up?
Hey, I hope all is well.
All is well, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, same here. Dominic Ebanks here. Just listening to the show, I guess everybody complaining about, these imported cars, and that's a distraction again from some of the big topics that we really have facing us out there, like the overdevelopment and all that. They all tie into each other, but it's just distraction to take your mind off of things, I gotta agree with the last caller there, because I had mentioned that before about this whole idea of allowing the electronic cars to be imported duty free and then giving discounts on the hybrids and stuff. They're the more expensive vehicles, right? And you can't echo this enough, because we didn't really hear anything about that, about taking that waiver off and start taxing these people the proper fees. I mean, if you look at how many, I'm not gonna call no car name brand,
Yeah, but the obvious,
we
right?
can see quite, yeah, but we can see a lot of the high-end vehicles that are in that 100,000 range processed that are mostly electronic now, and just from doing some research and looking at things, you realize there's quite a lot of them that came through the customs department, and the duty that has been waived on those cars adds up to a lot of money that could have went to a whole heap of other social issues that we have that need financing, And again, like the caller said, it's only those rich people that are benefiting from it because, you're allowing them to bring in a car, do pay no duty, and they already got money that they can afford it. I'm quite sure the government did the analysis and pulled back out how many cars came in duty free because of being electronic and gave us the total of what they should have paid on that. We will see that we have actually taken a loss to these people when they should have been not to penalize anybody for trying to look for the environment and talking about emissions free and all that type of stuff. But again, that in itself is another excuse to enrich the rich, And that's a good example of poor decision making right there. It had good intent, like, okay, let's move from gas vehicles to these electronic ones, but that should have never been the case. That shouldn't, because majority, just like the previous caller said, majority of the people that are driving and buying these cheaper cars are the majority of electors. And when election time comes, they're the ones that have been mostly affected or going to be mostly affected by not being able to get a car or afford a car. Yeah, Sterling, like I said, our whole issue with this car thing is just a big distraction from the big problem that we really have, which is really, again, filing back to our immigration problem. We're allowing development to happen here. The more development we have, the more occupants it requires and the more services. And, of course, we don't have enough people in the labor market that we have. So development in itself must have to come to a halt. And, of course, government is saying, well, if we stop all of this, where's the money going to come from, right? That's the question. Where is the money going to come from? The whole idea of having all of these, you see, this is an opportunity for government to have real estate, what? Caymanians, you don't want to pay drive your car on the road no more. Anybody that not Caymanian, they don't pay drive on these roads. And the price just went up too. I know some people don't like that. It just leaves a bad ringing in their ear. It might even leave a bad taste and a bad smell in their nose. But at the end of the day, we Caymanians, and whether you came from teen or you came by plane and got it by people, And at the end of the day, the more we keep adding more dependence we keep adding to the system, the harder it's become. There was a time when we were told that if we get the population up to 100,000, we would be self-sustainable, things prices would come down, and all of this distraction stuff. And at the end of the day, over the years, you like me doing when we saw Cayman in the population of about 30,000. Now it's double and triple in that. And now that it's double, things haven't gone down. Things have actually doubled and tripled. So it only shows us that the more we add to our population, the more expensive it gets. And, using this artificial way of growth where we're taking in important people to build the numbers that we need instead of actually reaching out. So a lot of these Caymanian young people that are still able to make children and say, look, we've come up with a plan to better, to offer better incentives. Because, I like hear people talking about this, when had this amount of babies and having children and you can't afford to take care of them and all that kind of thing. And these are Caymanian people we're really talking about. These are Caymanian children at the end of the day. And those are the people that make up that number that we need to get to the 100,000. And for people to be bashing on like that, especially when you're making babies, making Caymanian babies, we should be praised and we should be supported to make more Caymanians. And the more Caymanian babies we make, our children we produce, then we just get rid of the ones we imported. And that's where there's rollover policies and all these things come in that need to be amended, where we're allowing people to purchase land, get points. All of these things need to be stripped. And if we don't find a government that can go in there and, show that they got a BALLS, we got to end up in this situation almost forever, and it's only going to get worse. I think the statistics that came out just last week or week before, it stated that the Caymanians are pretty much in the minority now, right? So at the end of the day, some people don't understand what that means, but all that means is that you're losing control of your country, and other people are coming in and pretty much washing you out, whether you like it or not. And I would give it another 10, 20 years, but to continue on the same course, we could probably simply be seeing a total different government structure and system, because your second, third generation of Caymanians are come up. A lot of these people do see Caymanian the way you, or Cayman the way you and I saw it. We grew up under this thing that, we were kind and loving, and it's always about giving and sharing more than it was receiving. But our weakness for that, people from the outside that could see us from outside and say, oh, look at this, look, and we could take advantage of it. That's what has happened. But we have a bunch of foolish elected representatives that have made, because you can't blame the current one, some of them that dead in the graveyard need to be dug up and asked why they did it. When you think about it, why they made certain decisions, and of course they'll try to justify it for whatever reason later on. But at the end of the day, I could give somebody else an opportunity to talk on the show. But again, I just want to echo that thing that these electronic cars, and let's stick to that, these electronic vehicle import, that need the waiver and that need to be listed. Like the same thing how they just dropped the bombshell on everybody that you can't bring in a car past 2016. We'll drop the bombshell on these people too. You got an electric car on its way on the ship from Jamaica, where we're coming from. By the time we get it came on tomorrow morning, you got to be paying duty on it. And if you don't like it, well, you have to send it down to Mount Rushmore and let it rot down there. And it's something as simple as that.
Yeah, man.
Doing,
always a pleasure.
Negative there. It's always a pleasure talking and also listening to you and your show. But
yeah, man. You too, man. Talk to you again when you're ready. All right. Thanks, man. Let's take some more calls. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
I'm good, man. And thanks again.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sterling, I take my hat off to that last caller. And the proof of the back, I agree with a lot of stuff they're saying. One thing with the lady in regards to city wardens, well, Sterling, we have always tried to see things happening and report it to the police, and then the police go and tell them who called and complained or who did the complaint. So we're not going to be protected out there at all, in regards of having a city warden to see things and report it. Because, like I say, I think you've been doing that on this island for a long time, and it kind of slowed down a bit now because in the police department, you just don't know who to trust. They go and call names. Well, so-and-so called and complained about this, and so-and-so called and complained about that, and so-and-so called about your car, and so forth and so forth. So I don't know how that one's going to work. But the inspection for these vehicles that go into various garages to get inspected, I think that need to be stopped, period, Sterling, because I think that's why we have so much bad cars on the road. When I say bad cars, no bumpers and no license plate, no this and no that, because then they all know each other and they just pass them. Sometimes I think just for the fun of it, I think they just need to go back into the license department and have it licensed like everybody else have to go, because the taxi driver has to have their car inspected twice before they can come up on the road.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So them inspection departments, the government need to close them down and let them go back into the to the two depots that they got. They got one Breakers, they got one up there a Crew Road, and they got one in West Bay. They got two inspection what do you call it, drive-through and so forth. So I don't care what the population become, that's how they live with it. Because I think that's up on hand the road is these people who's passing these cars that cannot pass, and they are still passing them. But that's another show. Earlier you had some people on a couple of days ago talking about energy and changing your vent, your filters and your bulbs and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yesterday, as well, yeah.
He also mentioned, cut your AC off, and when you go back home, then you put it back on. There's a little bit of climate change going on right now. If you cut your AC off completely and gone from your house, which is could be a central air, your house is going to gather some heating there, and you got to come back and put your AC on with that heat in there. Cause a lot of people don't open the windows to blow that heat out and put the AC on. So I don't see where that's going to help by cutting your AC off. Go to work all day. A little bit of coolness that's in there, it could die down by 5, 6 o'clock when you come home. And you're going to just go and switch your AC back on. And you say, well, let me open my windows for 10 minutes to throw out some of the hot air. And I don't think anybody changed their air conditioning vents anymore than my son do. Every time I hear him, he's going to buy vents for his air condition. I don't have
The filters and stuff. Mm-hmm.
The filters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the central air, and my light bill is $225, and I don't know what I'm doing to buy $225 a month for one person. I don't know what I'm doing. I do very seldom put my stove on. That's what anyway, how I get a high light bill with CUC. But, you know, these all these things that they want us to do. I mean, we can't get crippled no more than we are being crippled right now to try to save this and save that. See, you see the problem? And all of the different charges that come on your light bill every month. See, you see, and the government is our problem. We are not the problem. Like I said, a one window unit put on just in nighttime, not on in the daytime, and the stove is not on, and $225 a month for one person. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous. And Sterling, I'll let you go, but I got to hit on this one.
Mm-hmm.
The mosquitoes. Sterling, when they nip you, it feels like somebody took a needle in your body. And they're out any hour of the day, they're outside. And Sterling, I also want to say that when they brought those mosquitoes to Cayman, now you know we grew up in mosquitoes, and I know I ate some mosquitoes at my young age in the 50s. And many more have eaten mosquitoes and Cayman. We had on we didn't know what to do with them. We got them under control with MICU, and now the government went and purchased mosquitoes that no other part of the world wouldn't purchase. So Cayman decided to buy them and bring them here to do what, I don't know. But, Berlin, it is ridiculous to know that we got so controlled with the mosquitoes and decided to go and bring these other mosquitoes in here. Now we have no way of trying to spray for the season of the mosquitoes. And those that is nipping on us now, I swear they're not Cayman mosquitoes. I swear. But you know what, Sterling? The government is who purchased the mosquitoes, so that's who's to blame for the mosquitoes. They call the government mosquitoes. They purchase them. So we got to find a way to solve the problem and keep us under control from being all getting up unnecessary. 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the daytime, you're outside, the mosquitoes will bite you. Something is definitely wrong. But anyhow, thank you. You have a great one.
All right. Thank you, too. And always a pleasure to listen to you. Thanks for taking time, all right? All right. Talk this one. All right. Pause and take a break. And 1 o'clock, we got a chance to share with our friends and talk about Child Month. So stay tuned.
Are you kidding me?
Hey girl, what's wrong?
My eyeliner foundation just ran out and I have to leave Savannah in 15 minutes.
That's easy. Just stop at Savannah Pharmacy. That's where I get all of my makeup and for a great price too.
Really?
Really, girl. Where are you going?
To Savannah Pharmacy, duh.
Wait, I'm coming too. Ran out of my favorite nail polish.
Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village provides you with more than just prescriptions. Savannah Pharmacy is just around the corner with everything you need and the hours you need it. Visit us today for fast, efficient, and professional service. We are here as a team to assist you while taking care of your health. Call us today at 946-3336.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Barry's Golden Jerk, the Cayman Brac sensation, ranked the #1 restaurant in Cayman Brac by TripAdvisor and home of the authentic jerk. Barry's Golden Jerk, serving large portions of the best jerk chicken and pork. Open Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday near the airport, or call 917-6713. Barry's Golden Jerk. It's simply better.
For the record.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you.
For the record.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for Cayman's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record.
Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird.
I just feel like something good is about to happen. I just feel like something good is on its way. Praise the Lord. He can work through those who praise Him. Praise the Lord. Put your hand in the hand of the man who steals the water. Put your hand in the hand of the man who calmed the sea.
Oh, just because I've got Jesus on my mind. Just because I got Jesus on my mind.
Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The National Gallery of the Cayman Islands will be offering free guided tours and discussions at both the Mind's Eye Center and the National Gallery's Dart Auditorium. To RSVP for the guided Mind's Eye tour on Friday, May 5th, email cncf@artscayman.org. And to RSVP for the National Gallery discussion on Thursday, May 4th, email events@nationalgallery.org.ky. In international news, a new Alzheimer's treatment is showing results after the second drug in under a year has been shown to slow the disease. Experts said we were now on the cusp of drugs being available, something that had recently seemed impossible. The company Eli Lilly has reported its drug slows the pace of Alzheimer's by about a third. However, 2 volunteers and possibly a third died as a result of dangerous swelling in the brain. Cristiano Ronaldo has become the world's highest-paid athlete for the first time since 2017, following his move to Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr. Forbes report the 38-year-old Portugal forward earned $136 million over the past 12 months. Argentina's World Cup winning captain Lionel Messi is second on Forbes' list, having earned $130 million. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
Health Services Authority is now offering online payment options for patients. Patients of HSA can now pay their bills, including deposits, towards scheduled services online at payments.hsa.ky. The secure, new online payment system accepts debit or credit cards and is in addition to the available payment options of online bank transfer. For quick, easy, and secure payment directly from your phone or computer, visit HSA's new online payment system at payments.hsa.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born September 25th, 1947, at Watering Place, Cayman Brac, Royce Adolphus Dilbert was the firstborn son to Helen and Grace Dilbert, née Tibbets. Mr. Dilbert was a hard-working man who spent numerous years at sea, as well as employing his diverse skill sets on land. In 1979, he would marry Yvette Jackson and took employment with Cayman Brac Power and Light Company in 1981 as chief engineer, where he remained until his retirement in December of 2018. Heavily influenced by his wife, in 1982 he gave his heart to the Lord and joined her at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where he later served as interim pastor in 2002 to 2007, becoming pastor in 2017. Mr. Dilbert was a charter member of the Rotary Club of Cayman Brac, served as PTA president at Creek Primary School, worked with the youth in the community, president of the Veterans and Seamen Society, and was a member of the Development and Control Board Cayman Brac until his passing. Royce was a devoted father to 7 children, loved to fish, and had a passion for cars.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And really is a pleasure now to take the next, 30 minutes or thereabouts to have a chance to remind us that we are indeed celebrating the Child Month in this month of May. And then we'll have open line for the remaining hour or so. So one of the social work managers over at DCFS, Ms. Christine Miller. Good afternoon, ma'am. Welcome.
A very pleasant good afternoon, Sterling. It's nice to be with you again.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and thank you for accepting the invitation. I was even thinking of, tapping into my artistic, creative side and to even say, is that a chartreuse color that you're wearing? But my friends would go, guy, it's not. It's probably something else. But it looks wonderful on you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Liven up the room.
I appreciate it. It livened me up too.
What's that song? What Bob Marley? We play later. Lively up yourself, Miss Christine.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go.
One must love life if one is to laugh, and one is to laugh, one must show life, right? All right, well, would you be so kind to, as we asked, to introduce Miss Tomlinson and, of course, Miss Dwayne Ebanks? Would you?
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm pleased to have with us this afternoon Mrs. Ashlyn Gobal Ebanks, and she's representing the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development, and she's a social policy advisor within the ministry. And then we have Miss Genevieve Tomlinson, who is no stranger to all of us, really. She has been a social worker within the department for many moons. Many moons. Miss Genevieve used to be on the foster care, adoptions, and aftercare team with us. She's now recently with the MASH team. A great loss for me, but we're sharing these skills and expertise around.
What is it they say? A great loss for one is another great gain for another.
I tell you that is it.
I think that was the saying when the guy stepped out. Well, Ms. Genevieve, thank you, Mom. And we certainly have had a great pleasure having you in the past as we'll go through it. So welcome, Mom.
Thank you.
And thanks again, Ms. Christine. Now, Ms. Ebanks, as we look at the idea of social development and child month, want to welcome you. Hopefully, we'll have the distinct pleasure going forward, you and your colleagues, to come through as the ministry reps and talk about some of the things. But welcome, and I trust that you will enjoy your visit with us.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right. Miss Christine, through you, this month of May, as we have for many in the past, it's what, 20-something? Thereabouts?
Is over. I didn't check I didn't remind myself of the dates, but I can tell you, is way over 25 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Quite a while.
I was looking at Miss Genevieve, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, she's been there as long as I have.
Believe me, yes, the time flies.
But there's a theme every year, and there are things. I want to be mindful of your time as we introduce the calendar. So through you, Director, as well.
All right. So Miss Genevieve is a Child Month chairman this year, and I am the manager sitting on the Child Month committee. I must say, use the opportunity first to say we have an awesome committee, and they have done a fantastic job in putting this calendar together. So this is what we want to share the calendar with our listeners, and those who tend to enjoy our program throughout the years. I'm sure they are sitting waiting to hear what we have planned for them this year. Miss Genevieve, do you want to start off by sharing what the calendar would look like?
Okay. Good afternoon, Radioland. Yes, our thrust this year is to invest in our children means investing in our future. That is our theme. And as a department and a community, we believe in the 4 factors that we believe would set a child up for success. And that is looking at the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the financial. So we first start off this 2023 Child Month calendar with a church service, which will be on Sunday. And at that time, too, we will be awarding a child who is selected as the awardee for Child Month 2023. In that capacity, we look at the child who is able to achieve academically, as well as volunteering and contributing to the school, to the community, and to the country at large.
And, as I listen to you, look at those 4 factors, Mr. Austin, I'm even thinking in a ministry of, that's devoted to, investment, innovation, social development. This other factor, social, the social capital, the social awareness, the social consciousness, is imperative.
Most definitely, especially when we think particularly about the theme of it being our future. We can't rely on a future without investing in our children, because ultimately, where will we be if we don't have those children taking spaces in our future with increased health and education and all those factors that we need to provide for? They will then make the workforce and possibly be sitting in our seats today. So as a ministry, obviously, we're here to support, and the department has been putting together an amazing calendar of events for May. And of course, there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, but ultimately it comes back to the importance of ensuring that our children are equipped with the social and health factors that make them thrive.
And I think, I believe it was Aristotle, not Plato, who said, happiness is relative. And a lot of us equate, happiness relative to our status in life,
yes, that's true.
Or financial wealth in particular, as opposed to the measure of metal in the man. But I wonder, though, in sort of a jovial way, when we say money can't buy happiness, but it allows you to choose your misery. If we're missing somehow, Ms. Genevieve, the idea that the whole being has to be nurtured, and in there, we'll find not just happiness but contentment.
You want to take that one?
Well, I agree with you. I would want to share with you, Sterling, that this one of the approach you're taking at looking at these 4 elements. I was reading something that talks about somebody postulating that wealth alone cannot or does not create happiness. And I did some further reading on it, which talks about these 4 elements, or spiritual or mental or physical and financial. Those are 4 elements that in and of itself does not create happiness, but together, because they impact each other. So I saw a model, a triangle, similar to Maslow's hierarchy, that says if we have physical health, which is at the base of this quadrant, if we have physical health, then of course it will impact our spiritual health, right? Because you're feeling physically good. So the spiritual health talks about us believing in ourselves, knowing that we have a sense of purpose, knowing what your sense of purpose is, being kind and thoughtful to your neighbors, love, all those sort of things. And all of that impact also the mental, which ultimately impact the financial.
I saw something similar to that, if I might, and I reinterpreted and redefined it. Instead of a triangle or even a square or rectangle, I did it as a circle, because...
And that is true, because they all interface with each other and impact each other.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
So, Ms. Ashley, with that, though, as we look at the idea of investing in our future by investing in our youth, because we're investing in our youth, we're therefore investing in our future. But those are the things that are sometimes challenging. We could plant a tree now and understand that it may take 10, 20, 50 years for it to bear fruit. We could build a building, and in 6 months, it could be occupied. But that newborn, it could be like the tree, a very long time before it bears fruit.
So I think to that, I'll go back to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, which is something that our government has signed on to as a signatory, but also very well renowned. And I think that's also one of our themes came from. For this month. But the United Nations provides 54 articles, which is basically your foundation for what a child needs. And although it might not be as easy as providing everything, and they have that from the get-go, but those foundational needs are things like shelter, voice, and making sure that those things are encouraged. So we as a ministry have been making sure that we are promoting those articles, and the department I know is very well familiar with those. But also as a ministry, we've been looking at how we can support through legislative reform those kind of frameworks that allow for a bit more structure regarding children and adoption and other regulatory frameworks that are currently assisting with what a child may or may not need.
And Mr. Genevieve and Ms. Christine, from the notion that in the societal shifts that we've seen in Cayman, the employment of certain individuals, the deployment of certain resources, the establishment of certain even structures in order to maybe respond to the change in ethos, even the change in demographic, those values that we hold inalienable for some of us, the idea of being respectful to your elders, being protective of your children, are they being somehow deliberately and consciously kicked aside because this is a dog eat dog world?
I should sincerely hope it's not being deliberately, but the only thing constant I keep saying is change. Yeah. So we see changes that come with the younger generation, with our younger parents, the intergenerational, just different things, families, the younger people they are getting married younger or becoming parents younger. So all of those value system, they probably look on some of the values that we hold there and think that they're really out of the window.
I do want to challenge one notion, being that a child is to be seen and not heard. Yeah. I think that emphasis on having a child included in their decisions and ultimately things that affect them is something that we've been working to promote, and the voice of the child is something that should be heard. So that is one notion that I would.
Yeah. And thank you for that, because it's only as you, I want to say mature, not age, that you start to reflect on things. And hopefully my parents won't mind me, talking. But in my household, that I thought that what existed in mine existed in everybody else's. As children, you were allowed to participate in the conversation. You were expected to participate. You were given a voice. Now, we didn't use some of the terminologies that I hear today that we put, but by example, we were an active, engaged, informed, involved part of what happened in the household. So we had a voice. We were expected to be seen and heard.
Mm-hmm.
There were certain, sort of, I guess, maybe protocols. Well, you can't be listening if you're talking to. Give someone else a chance. You have to show that.
So I wonder if it is the systems that are in place that allow for the advancement of some and the tendency to put away or diminish or delete. Because for when we look at society, reinforcement is key for values and morals and so to be passed on in society. And if there is no one that is taking that on to reinforce with the younger generation as they come up, then it would seem as what Miss Christine said, as if it is gone in the wind or lost somewhere. But it is always there. And it has to be reinforced in the school, in the church.
But when you say systems,
in the home,
what do you mean? I mean, I deliberately and consciously want to probe.
When I say systems, I am looking at the economic, the spiritual, all the different components that make up a society.
Okay.
That they too play a part in what the society receives.
Okay.
And how it is transmitted.
All right.
So if a country does not partner to ensure that these values and norms and nuances of our society is reinforced in the society through the various systems and entity, then it would appear as if it is lost or
So
gone in the
pick up on what you shared, and may I then challenge then that maybe the system of our education or system of law enforcement, policing, judiciary, and even the
look more at the legal. Some people are saying that they are not even sure these days how to parent. They are not sure what they capture that is correct and what is not correct. Because we are coming from an era where children obey their parents. No, you're not seeing that as much.
All right. So I want to maybe ask, and the reason I say this, and I'm prayerful that one very respectful response will in our comments, but it's not speaking to an esoteric audience necessarily, right? An esoteric discussion. And as an audience listening, I draw from the lady that called in the day relative to education. And she said, this is where she was born, this is the schooling she's had, this is who she is. But in the Cayman context, her interaction with the Caymanian child, very, very resourceful, very respectful, but they'll speak up and defend and ask questions. But it's only when you push them, right? I'm paraphrasing, that you get their response. And something that you said, Ms. Genevieve, that sparked me to ask, in understanding my own upbringing, my thinking, that because my parents said to me, you can question me, you can ask me questions, you can speak to me. We could even have a argument/discussion. There were only two rules, right? No cussing, you got to be respectful, and you got to give someone else a chance to talk, because your opinion isn't the only one. It's probably not even right. So if you're not willing to listen to what someone has to say, then you really don't have the right to say. So in that household, then I go to school and I interact with community groups or a police officer or the pastor. As long as I'm not shouting and I'm not cussing and I'm waiting, I'm thinking I'm being respectful. But I had a deliberate engagement earlier, seeking to ask in response to today's discussion, is that somehow change where we have misinterpreted, misunderstood? And he gave me this example. He said, remember two teachers in two classes adjoining. One was, hey, come on in, everybody sit down, let's have a chat. And did you do your reading, the homework, let's talk? And it was that engagement. And the other one was militant. You write it this way, you circle it that way, you put the comma there, and there was no question. Now, for a student like me, I couldn't get out of that class fast enough. It offered nothing.
The first one was creating critical thinking.
Well, that's what I thought.
And the law, while the more rigid is imposing a particular style on a child or so.
Yeah.
What is being stirred in my mind?
Yes, ma'am.
is years ago, and it occurs now. The whole thing of socialization, and so I would say, while our children are impacted by when they're in the school environment and other social community engagement, remember the importance of socialization, and that the first agents of socialization is the family. All right, and so children will model the behaviors they're seeing and hearing in the home, right? And it changes when they go to school and so on, and they get more mature and so on. But I'm telling you, I'm meeting families that seriously engage their children and, introduce them to various things. And it's just amazing how these children thrive. They're there and they want that level of stimulation and encouragement so they can achieve. So I think it still goes back to our parenting,
all right.
And how you engage your children.
Well, I'm looking forward to our month-long discussions, and if each anyone in particular want to take the lead, our calendar, it's available where, and what are some of the highlights? I know the church service coming up, but today is, the Wednesday, and we are the third day into the month. So that take us through.
Okay, well, we have our games night on Friday, and that is going to be in West Bay. Starts at 6:30 to 8:30, and it will be at the John Gray Memorial Hall.
And is that for any particular ages? And
no, because it's on a Friday. What we tend to do is to we link with the youth groups on a Friday that tend to meet on a Friday evening. So we're meeting there. That's the venue but it's open to the children in West Bay. All the various youth groups and so on. Yes. So, and then in Cayman Brack, they're going to be having their Island Adventure Scavenger Hunt, and this is for their high school students only, and it is at Cayman Brack Public Library at 6 p.m. Then on the 7th, Sunday the 7th, this Sunday coming, our church service will be at West Bay Assembly of God. It starts at 10:30 in the morning. Of course, we have a public holiday, very special day on the 8th. And the FRC, Family Resource Center, they will be having their radio show, their Bobo Radio station at 2 p.m. And we will be joining them to do some discussions, the usual parenting and those sort of things. On Wednesday the 10th, I see we have mental health awareness. Dr. Lam, we're hoping, will be visiting with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And she'll be representing the Alex Panton Foundation. And we're hoping she will be speaking on our mental health and how that contributes to our happiness. All right? Mental health and mental wealth. Then we have on the 13th, the Seventh-day Adventists, they'll be having their children's convention at the Lion Center. Miss Genevieve, you want to pick up on the 16th?
Okay. On the 17th, it's a radio program as well, Early Childhood Development. We'll be discussing the children's overall development and wellness and what that would look like, and to encourage the family. And the 18th, Cayman Brack has a family dinner that is by invitation only. And we are again back to games night, the 19th, where we have Georgetown at the Elms Memorial Church Hall. And the 20th is Circle of Love breakfast, which everyone knows Circle of Love as always look out for the children and to celebrate them during the month of May. They always. And games night for East End and the Northside Civic Center.
Will also be on the 20th. So, and I understand we have a large turnout of youngsters here. So, really exciting. Yes. On the 21st, we are hoping to have a cookie baking and decorating contest. Then we go on to Cayman Brack having their Crafty Kids Artwork Workshop at the Aston Ruddy Civic Center. That's from 9 to 11, age 7 to 11. And then in the afternoon, Gen Z Shaping the Future Youth Forum at the Aston Ruddy Civic Center, and that is from 1 to 5 p.m. This year, we're hoping to put on a parent and child dinner series. So that will run into June. And the first one will be on the 23rd, Tuesday the 23rd. And I think that we'll be sending out invitations for that.
Mm-hmm. I think as I listen, to both you, Ms. Christine, Ms. Genevieve, Ms. Ashley, I'm mindful that if you'd allow us young people, we have great examples to follow, but we have to be willing to step up as well and to engage, whether it's the games night, and bring our younger siblings or come out and volunteer as we make our way, and that investing in our future by our children. Sometimes it's not just about accountability and responsibility. We need to recognize that it's the accessibility that so much we have.
Opportunities.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that opportunities and experiences provide a forum for growth and challenge, which obviously definitely help with our investment in this theme. So I would take all of these events as an opportunity to get out there, to bring your individuals, your children with you, and have some new experiences and grow from them, learn from them.
And that's the beautiful thing that Cayman offers, that it's not just the safety and the security, but the sense of, society as being willingness for opportunity. We've seen great change that's been, in many cases, positive.
Yes, it is.
Well, I'm hopeful in that not only through the attendance and participation, but as Ms. Ashley shared, those opportunities that we foster, we'll avail ourselves, but we'll also take it with us back into our homes and into our schools, into our youth groups, into our own interactions in the wider community, from the supermarket, to the way we present ourselves on the roadways.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
All right. What else, Ms. Christine, you want to share with us?
Well, just 2 more events or 3 more events. Yes, I should mention that the Family Resource Center, they're partnering with us this year, which we are happy to have them on board with us. And they will be doing a series of parenting training. All right. So, and then on the Saturday the 27th, there is a art session at the art gallery, and that is by invitation only. We're catering just for a small number of youngsters. On the 28th, Child Month Church service for Cayman Brack at the New Testament Church at 11. And then on the 30th, we have one of our signature events, which is the teen panel. As the month rolls on, we will speak further on some of those things. Of course, we'll be back with you, Sterling, on the 31st. So it's good to start the month off with you and to end it with you.
Thank you. I feel that. Well, before I ask Ms. Ashley for final thoughts, Ms. Genevieve, anything else you want to follow
Just to also add that we had challenged the schools to ask the students to do, at the primary level, a gratitude jar, and at the high school level, a gratitude chart, to pin on things that they are thankful for each day. Because sometimes when we tend to count the losses instead of count the positive and the blessings that is happening, and probably when they are through with the jar, they see that there is much more to be thankful for than to complain about. And we are really hoping that the school will undertake this challenge and get our children throughout the month to do something like that we can take pictures of it and to at least, do some photo shoot so that the community can see how thankful our children are during this time.
It might remind us of how much we take for granted, something that is so significant yet for us, we probably don't even realize it. We woke up this morning.
Yep.
Yes.
We made it so far into this day. God's willing, we'll see many more. But and it's not to make people feel bad who are don't have the loved ones here with them. But that aside,
provides a positive perspective, which I think we do take for granted somewhat times. So definitely a good outlook to have, and it's a really great initiative.
It is.
Sometimes you need a hug from a friend. Sometimes you just need to hug the world.
Oh, tell me about that.
That's nice. That's
yes, it
personally.
I tell you, boy, best business.
Yes, Sterling. Yes.
No, but thank you all very much. And looking forward to not only helping you with the calendar events, but welcome you each, back to Weekly Wednesdays, right?
Yes, thank you.
Well, since we're going to be with you most, if not all, Wednesdays this month, we have, as I mentioned, the interesting professionals who will be coming to discuss is the different elements that I mentioned, why it is important, our physical health, our mental health, emotional health, and which leads to financial health, and that is where the happiness is found, right? But just to say that I recognize when I was with the family team, something I was reading an article that spoke about the importance of families as the foundation for society. They replenish the population, and based on how we bring them up, how we invest in them, will determine on who our future leaders are, who our future practitioners are, policemen, firefighters. So the investment, we tell people, parents, to have quality time and to bond with your children. Another way of saying, invest in them. We will see the rewards later on, the quality of the human being that will be out there and make up the society and the social fabric.
So good seed.
That's right.
Yes.
Just to add to Miss Christine's point, we can't prosper without having children that are educated and healthy. So definitely a priority, and hopefully this month will encourage those individuals to get involved.
That is sage. The idea that the true wealth and the true pillars are your health and your education of your people, and particularly your young. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashley.
Thank you for having us.
And I just want to say to our community, for each component that we have described, the factors of physical, for the physical, try eating dinner as a household. Spiritual, let us demonstrate a caring attitude to others. And mentally, talk with our children about their mental health and let them know that they do not need to be ashamed of their emotional struggles. And financially, have frequent money talks. We talk about a lot of things, but we don't talk about money, what it is used for, why we should save, how we should save, what we should invest in, live within our means. We just talk about other factors. But these four components, it is said, if we have a balance, then we'll our schedule, our setup for a more successful life.
Indeed. Well, looking forward to not only our discussions, but to see how we as a community take our lessons and apply it to our lives and make sure that our youth in particular feel nurtured, loved, supported, and encouraged. So thanks again.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us.
Always a pleasure. So please get your Child Month calendar, subscribe to the ministry's initiatives, and be a part of, in particular, the games nights in your respective districts. Those are fun.
They are fun.
Those are fun. All right, when we come back, it can be some open line. So join us.
Here at Savannah Pharmacy, our pharmacists do a lot more than just count out your pills and fill prescriptions. They undergo extensive education in the study of how the human body uses and responds to medicine. They have also built up years of experience in real-life counseling on how to take medication safely. Our pharmacists are on the front lines in keeping our society healthy. Don't risk it or hesitate. Contact us or schedule a consultation with one of our pharmacists today. At Savannah Pharmacy, we care about your health.
How can you make a classic BLT sandwich even better? Well, by adding tuna. The land meets the sea in Subway's new sandwich, the Tuna BLT, available for a limited time. The Tuna BLT is exploding with flavor. Imagine crispy, juicy bacon strips on top of tuna, fresh lettuce, and slices of tomato, topped with your favorite sauce and choice of freshly baked bread. Enjoy the best of both worlds with the Tuna BLT from Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
Christian Enlightenment Center, located on the waterfront, has received a new shipment of beautiful Bibles. At the Christian Enlightenment Center, everything is blooming with color, like our water bottles, bookmarks, wall art, and you will love our Bible covers. Refresh your stationery. We have notepads, pens, markers, Bible tabs, and attractive desk accessories. Satisfy your curiosity by coming to our store, open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6 at the new location on North Church Street, beside the Burger King on the waterfront in Georgetown. 945-1252. Christian Enlightenment Center. Gifts for life. Shop with us this Mother's Day to find meaningful gifts that will certainly warm and touch Mama's heart.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. It is open line as we invite you to share your thoughts and to be a part of, the excellent things that are happening in the society. But you may want to continue with what some of our guests were saying. It's certainly way to be a part of the Child Month activities in particular. I think the games nights and Fridays always fun, always good way for families to get together. And it may be the parents and the children, it may be just the siblings, but as you wish. Could be another reason to be a part of your youth group and the like. But let's give you some options to give us, a call to share your thoughts. Let's remind you and reacquaint you with our WhatsApp number that you can use to telephone us and be on air if you have access to that. 925-3261. 925-3261. Of course, you can send a WhatsApp as you would normally. You could do a voice note. We'll play that as well. Or you can call it and we'll answer it and you'll go on air. Now, Flo has provided a toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255. It works for many. Sometimes it works for some. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. It's a lot like life, So that's available to you if it is. Now, 949-8037, 949-8037, or 949-6990. Again, other options to share your thoughts with us. And even though we had an opportunity to talk about Child Month for the last half hour or so, a couple of messages had come through, and I would, as I read it, come in during the break and just a few seconds prior, many of our listeners are saying, to the gentleman who called, I think one said, another red herring, even though the traffic woes are in need of being addressed, this person, and I messaged the individual back and asked, they'll forgive me for taking some of what they shared and not reading some of it, simply because of the content, the tone, and the like, and they seem okay. But that person wants to call in and say it how they want to say it in their own voice, I certainly would encourage that, because if your democracy is to really be a healthy one, then all its populace must have a voice. And if we can provide a platform to encourage you to share, then let's ensure that we do. But the individual was saying that on one hand, in order to potentially address the traffic congestion and maybe even some of the other issues, we impose restriction on a vehicle. If it's of this year and older, then unless it falls under the exempted categories, right, we can't import it. But the individual is saying, well, two other things come into play. We see anyone who has to come or go to or from the eastern districts are having challenges, and yet we are holding up the construction and sometimes maybe environmentally responsible in asking certain things. But are we prepared to make some of the sacrifices? The individual also said, well, look, similar to what many have shared, the pace of development. We may restrict cars, and what if this person said, eventually the government says, no more cars, don't care what it is, we're going to have a carless society. But if we have increased population, and whether we have 10 stories or 100 stories, people will live and occupy those spaces. That increased population will increase, the congestion in our society, whether it's on the roads through the vehicles that they are in, whether driving or as passengers, but certainly requires continued investment, expansion, and upgrading of the infrastructure from the roads included. And then the third thing that this other individual message shared was that as we look at it, are we truly trying to put forward solutions that would solve things not just only in the immediate but the near term, but are we, as he alleges, may be in agreeing with the caller, under the red herring? Let's distract people, get them embroiled into arguing about the low-hanging fruit and ignoring the bigger issues. Now, he referenced, and this was the part that I'll just touch on. He's referenced the fellow who called and said, we need to stop development. He quoted it, and he says, well, is that what we should do? Now, we do it in times and we call it a moratorium. Is that something that we need to consider? What would be the implications of that? Who would be the greatest champions for that? Who would be the loudest voices against it? And perhaps if I could, through him, maybe ask, what is your view? Do we need to continue on our pace of development and increase it? Do we need to stop it for a while? Do we need to only stop it in certain places, or perhaps only certain types of development? And importantly, there are many who've talked about a growth management plan. Well, what is that? What does that look like? What sort of time frame? Share with us. 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free the Compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. You can call it, we'll answer it. You can message, we'll read it. You can record a voice note, and we'll play it. As you choose, share with us. Now, the other sort of inference from one other message was this idea of population growth, development control, and the like, and questioning where is the government. And this individual said, I don't even only mean the elected or the civil service, but sometimes there's a de facto government, in the brackets, the person wrote read into that special interest groups and the like. So by extension, let's say the private sector as opposed to the public sector, the influence that they may have on driving government policies and perhaps helping government to navigate. And this individual saying that with increased interest rates globally, with the increased costs to businesses, and as a result, consumers are facing, limited choices sometimes, delayed choices, but higher prices. Have we a plan as to what potentially could be a negative consequence if the world finds itself either at war or increased global tensions or interruption in food supplies and basic necessities, and where will Cayman be then? This individual sent 3 pictures. It would appear from a shopping trip and at a supermarket, and the person said, it may just have been the day, but we've seen limited supply at times. The individual, and I certainly would like to highlight this, saying this is not to scare people and create any sort of panic, but whether you're in Cayman or you're other places, it would be very obvious that you don't always have that readily available product that you are accustomed to. And how are we adjusting to that? It may be a part that you're waiting on for a particular piece of equipment in order to get your business or your operations up and flying again. It may be that particular food item that you've always enjoyed but now isn't as readily available. And when it is, it may be in a limited supply, or the price may be significantly higher. And this individual is sharing it with an increased population and with increased government expenditure on maintaining that population from the provision of the services. What happens if these things transpire and creates an inability or a difficulty for a government to meet its obligations? Well, we invite you to weigh in and share your thought. 949-8037, 949-6990. Of course, you can call toll free at 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. You can call it if you so choose. Now, we did get a message from one of our listeners, and was asking specifically if there's a way for a government to be sort of required, in a sense, to do what its citizens demand. And I messaged back to the individual and said, well, are we particularly inclined to say specifically to the government, what is it that we're demanding? And the response was, well, we get during the general election time to go to the polls, but many of us only end up voting on personalities, and then ask, well, what are these issues that you want a government to look into? Wait until he responds, but in the meantime, let me read this other message. It says, we should mandate a bus schedule that runs to midnight. Many tourism workers get off late in the nights. 2, so we should increase sin taxes on cigarettes, vapes, and alcohol. 3, government should import bulk food cheaper for those in aid plans versus the vouchers for expenses at the stores. And then 4, the Department of Agriculture should help to teach how to raise chickens and start a pack of a seed of feed and a roll of wire per home. This individual's message quite similar to another individual who had said that some of the basic skills that we should be teaching in our communities, not necessarily relegated to the education system, is how to feed ourselves, basic agricultural skills. And like that last message was asking, are there things that we can do? I know the Department of Agriculture has, some home gardening seminars, and they're probably becoming more increasingly publicized. I think there's one coming up maybe this weekend. But many times, many of us don't either know about it sufficiently to make the requisite plans. We hear about it, but we have another competing interest. And sometimes we just feel tired and say, I'll catch it the next time, or I'll ask somebody else. Now, is it that we don't see the seriousness and urgency of some things? Is it that we believe, well, it won't come to that, somebody else will take care of it if it does? is it that we have not, sort of harvest that sort of interest in our society, because we may not be able to fully appreciate that the food, for instance, on our table has to come from somewhere other than from the freezer or the pantry or from the supermarket, and that it's an involved process to get it there. Even if you're an individual that eats a significant amount of processed foods, but just the agricultural industry in the sector, the way it provides food seems to be under great challenge, and maybe part of why there's much debate as to how we can find other ways to provide the requisite food for the growing world population, as it were. Anyway, 949-8037, 949-6990. Toll free the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. And the individual responded to my question, and the first was asking about the mosquitoes. The question was, is there a way to force the government to be accountable to the people other than through the general election? And I asked, well, what specifically? And the response was the release of the genetically modified mosquitoes and the increased mosquitoes and its prevalence, no matter the time of day and the like. And, well, without perhaps answering what the person's asking, I asked the question back, how would they want us to be able to hold the government accountable? Now, not that this individual has referenced that, but from a few public calls, many conversations that we've all had in some space or place, and many have shared, this whole issue that the mosquito problem has become increasingly worse in recent years. And what one individual shared, and I was hoping that she would indeed call at some point to say it the way that she did, she was sharing with me previously. She said, we had it somewhat under control, and now we've made a mess of it, and it's worse now than it ever was. Her words, she says, this is what she heard, her grandmother talking about when her grandmother was a child. She didn't think that she would be in a Cayman today with the amount of development that we have, the swamps being, filled and the like, that the mosquitoes would be to a space where even her grandmother would harken back to the days of her youth and say, this is worse than what it was when she was growing up. Well, that's an indictment, certainly, as the lady shared. Now, if, as the gentleman has messaged and as this lady was shared, if in fact that is the issue, then his questioning as to accountability or responsibility or action, well, what is the answer and what do we do and how do we address it? And is it that it's not a major issue? All right. Well, let's pause and take this quick break, and when we come back, more talk today.
They say variety is the spice of life, and that's why at Subway we're introducing the new boneless hot sub. Say what? The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh. Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from May 5th through 12th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Cayman, you ready? Cayman Carnival Batabano presents the Friday Night Fete. Outstanding Blue, featuring soca sensation Skinny Fabulous. Along with DJ Eternal Vibe, MC Giselle, the Wassy One, Execution Sound, and more. Get ready to jump like you never jump, wave like you never wave, and whine like you never whine. Friday, May 5th, starting at 8 p.m. Seafarers Way, downtown Georgetown. Get your tickets now for the Friday Night Fete from Le Classique in the Strand. Celebrate with us at Outstanding Blue. Friday, May 5th, 8 p.m. Seafarers Way, downtown Georgetown. Tickets for Outstanding Blue are available from Le Classique. Sponsored by Ministry of Tourism, Department of Tourism, Cayman Airways, Jay and Money, Radio Cayman, Caymanian Times, Event Pro, and Pepsi.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite. Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it. Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The people of the Cayman Islands are preparing to celebrate the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III, who will be crowned alongside the Queen Consort at a ceremony at Westminster Abbey in London on Saturday, May 6th. The islands will commemorate the coronation with a special family-focused celebration on Cardinal Avenue, Georgetown, on the official coronation public holiday, Monday, May 8th, from 4 to 8 p.m. In international news, the remains of an Australian man who vanished while fishing with friends have been found inside a crocodile. 65-year-old Kevin Darmody was found after a 2-day search. Police euthanized 2 large crocodiles and found human body parts. Human remains were found inside only in one of the reptiles, but wildlife officers believe both were involved in the incident. A small university city in Northern California is on edge after 3 people were stabbed within a week. 2 of the stabbings were fatal, killing a college student at the University of California, Davis, and a homeless person. In the most recent incident on Monday, a homeless woman was knifed several times through her tent. No arrests have been made, and police in Davis have not said if they are searching for one or multiple suspects. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. Brought to you by Tropical Plaza on Smith Road. Tropical Plaza Variety Store. From knickknacks to quick snacks, odds and ends, and that convenient fix. Across from Cayman Prep, Smith Road in Tropical Plaza. Tropical Plaza Variety Store. A corner store with so much more. Tropical Plaza Variety Store. Tropical Plaza on Smith Road. Things come up. That's life. But it doesn't mean I can't show up. From a runny nose, stubbed toes, to earache woes, headaches, backaches, and tummy aches. When things come up, Best Health Pharmacy over-the-counter solutions get you back in the game. Best Health Pharmacy, located at Crown Square Plaza on Eastern Avenue, across from Edie's Decor. Best Health Pharmacy, your health, your convenience is their priority. Best Health Pharmacy also offers free prescription delivery anywhere in Georgetown and West Bay. Call 949-1301 or WhatsApp your prescription to 924-5358.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It is a wonderful Wednesday. I think some of you have said to me it looks like it's going to be a bit of a wet one as well. We'll see. You know, blessings from on high are always good, you know, even in the showers of rain to wet the lands. Well, open line for the next, 16 minutes and 1 second. 949-837, 949-6990. Toll free. The compliments of flow if you so choose. 1-800. It's a toll free number. So 1-800-534-8255. The number we want you to always use, as you would for the rest of them, when you're going to call me start in the mornings for the record. Excellent morning discussion on our Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Of course, the business buzz can keep you sort of thinking of some of those endeavors in the business sector. But here is another number that you want to use as well to call. If you are inclined to use WhatsApp, well, you can call it 925-3261. You don't need to just send a message or a voice note. You can actually call. I know our PSA says, you don't need to call. Well, yes, you do. 925-3261. Had a quick, let me share one message first before I share with you what the listener had shared during the break off air call. But this message says, if, in a big capital bold if, the Cayman Islands government was charging proportionate development impact and infrastructure fees, instead of giving concessions during boom times, we could afford to address some of our problems such as roadways and stormwater management, etc. For example, a raised bypass could be built in the east-west arterial, as is done in many places. And this attaches a photo of a raised highway over a national park in Japan. Now, some parts of the Caribbean refer to them as flyovers, overpasses in North America and the like, and causeways we see in certain spaces and places. So with that listener's points and has been also sort of echoed many times, but again earlier by one of our callers who said, just take electric vehicles in particular. with the high price tag, will it be sensible to continue granting concessions, do the waivers? Some of you said yes, and some of you say, well, it makes sense. And I should have to say that during the break, quick call from an individual who said, picked up on the idea that we're going to find ourselves, probably as individuals and certainly as a country, in need to be much more prudent financially and to looking at some of the potential costs that the country could face in terms of maintaining the social services. And if the government isn't creative with its approach, but the citizens aren't also willing to make the necessary sacrifices, we could find ourselves, really in a financial quagmire, I think was what he phrased it. Let's take this call. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah, I hear you talking to yourself.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a little call.
I appreciate it very much.
Okay. This a little brainwave I had. The 7 Mile Beach is eroding. It's in terrible situation, so they say. I don't know. But I think I have a little solution for that. Would you like to hear about it?
Yes, sir, of course.
Yeah. You remember when we were kids, you used to play with what they call jacks?
Uh-huh.
Okay. This is nothing new to me, because now in the Panama, in Cristobal, you're going in there, there's millions of them. It's over 100 years old, so it's nothing new. Also in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, when Hess Oil dredged that out, they put in, made a lot of land there. When I went there in 59 or something like that, we used to tie up to the mangrove bush. And now they dredged that out, and they put these jacks to protect the land that they were building. They were building, and that could be done here in Cayman. They could save the 7 Mile and the beach. You probably might be able to swim around anymore, but at least you would be able to get a sun bath on it. And it would also kill two or three birds with one stone, because you could build out, put a reef around that, a couple, 15, 20 feet wide, and fill it in with Mount Trashmore. All that we need to get rid of that. That would be the ideal place to put that in. It can be done, because I tell you, I know about St. Croix, I know about the Panama Canal, and many places. Even I think also in the breakwaters in Jacksonville, Florida, and also Miami, they got these you just dump them together, and they intertwine, and after a couple of years they'll grow. They will stay together, and it'll form a place. It's many places in the world that got that, but some years ago they tried with these balls or something.
Right.
That was it's just a brainwave I got, and I thought about it. In fact, I got a little sketch of it, but I said, well, since you don't have any calls, let me call you and put that on the air, because you could fill it in, and you might have to import some sand or 2 or 3 feet of sand to put on top of it, but it could work.
So I was trying to find some images as you were sharing, and I'm familiar with it. So these intertwined jacks, you would want to make sure you would take them and put them off, say, 7 Mile Beach. How far off would you go?
Yeah, make a reef out of, put them on the 7 Mile Beach, and it would keep the sand from eroding, because they would sink right down. That's you keep piling them on, they sink down in the sand. And it's many places in the world that they built land with using
Right.
them. Using them.
How far off the coastline would you go?
I would say 50 feet off the land,
Okay.
the beach.
And would you fill in, if you use the trash in a dump, would you fill in between the existing coastline and where the jacks are? Is that
Right.
so? You'd extend in the beach with the infill from the dump.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
And what possibly could be any sort of leaching and the like from that garbage now being put in the sea from the coastline?
No, I don't. Well, you put the breakwater down there first, and then it wouldn't be nothing would leak from that.
All right. We see similar, as you shared, things happen in other places. We've seen infill sites like that used subsequently for development, even housing, playgrounds, golf courses, parks, and the like. But then, if you were to do that, and the image that some would have, well, you have the beach, the sand, and then you got these jacks, 50, 100 feet, however far out is deemed, and then you fill it in with the trash, you cover it over a layer of sand. You've extended then the beach area.
That's right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Instead of moving the whole, because if you import that sand, that's going to wash away again. You need to put a retaining, let's call it a retaining wall out in front of that to hold it, keep the sand in. And these jacks you don't have this. They're made. You just drop them down into place, and they'll intertwine one another, and within a couple of years, they'll grow together. People who visited St. Croix or Jacksonville or Miami Beach, in many places, I even think down in Galveston, I'm sure they're using them down. There are many places in the world, and I know in Panama. I know. I think. My first trip down to Panama was in 1952, so they were there a long time before that. The breakwater, they called it. So it's just a brainwave I had, and I say you didn't have any calls, so I decided about.
Well, I appreciate you sharing, taking time, and if I might, just yesterday again. I referenced you in a discussion relative to you reminding us of how we are losing, or probably have already lost, many of the names of different places. I know you want to show, and you will talk about Red Spot, for instance, in other parts, Pages Bay and the like. But there were so many spaces in the country where we no longer remember the familiar names that ancestors had for these spaces.
Oh, that's quite true. But I say, nobody will believe, listen to me and believe me. But I just couldn't help it. I decided it's been on my mind for a couple of weeks now. I said I drew a little sketch of it, how it would happen, and because I've been around a little bit, and I've seen the places in La Guaira, Venezuela. It's when I was in 1949. I took, when we were building their dock there. We took a load of cement down there. It was big swells coming into that dock. But now they got what they call the mole. You go inside of that, it is you can tie up with thread.
Yeah.
We were breaking lines all the time, so this can be done, but.
Well, there is that airport in Japan, I think it's Kyoto, where they filled in the bay and then they built it. I remember coming across that, decades ago. Are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not familiar. But I know St. Thomas. that was the Harry Truman Airport at one time, and renamed that. And that's built out in the sea, in deep water, around 60 feet of water.
Yeah.
Well, they had material because they had those big high mountains. They cut that down, but there's hundreds of feet of that, thousands of feet of it. It's a beautiful place now. I was there. I was sailing into St. Thomas for many years when they were doing that, and so it can be done. But of course, you know, I ain't got white skin or straight hair or blue eyes, so nobody gonna listen to me. I think I said enough. Now.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you go and make somebody cut me up.
Well, thank you for, you had a thought, you put it out there. Let's see what people will think of it. Thanks, Grant Paul.
You're welcome.
Have a good afternoon, sir. All right. Mr. Carl, one more call or the break? All right. When we come back, we'll hear from you. Stay tuned.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Row Variety, centrally located in Tropical Plaza on Smith Road, carrying a wide range of household items, bathroom accessories, towels, clocks, handbags, clothes, shoes, jewelry, and more, and more, and more. You can buy from the big box retailers or support local. The better deals come from shopping local. Row Variety Store, Tropical Plaza, Smith Road. Telephone 924-9553.
You have the power to help keep your child healthy. Making sure that your child sees a public health nurse for wellness checks and recommended vaccines is one of the best things you can do to protect your child and community from serious diseases that are easily spread. Each vaccine counts. Call the Public Health Department today on 244-2648 to schedule your appointment. This message is brought to you by the Public Health Department in conjunction with the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. 949-8037, 949-6990. Or toll free 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Just a quick programming note that on Friday we're going to have the opportunity to join Mr. Loxley as part of the CI Retro Doctor Day special and have a discussion. The new king is being installed, so that's happening. And I think Monday the government is doing a thing in town, right, Paul? I saw, our Cayman comedic talent, Craig and Matt, doing the video. So on Cardinal Avenue, I think it is. Got to be a promising evening with fireworks and the like. So something to celebrate the holiday and be a part of it. And it's a great space and place in terms of history in the world, and to watch how we join together and celebrate such momentous occasions. 949-837, 949-6990, or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Of course, you can WhatsApp whether you call or otherwise, 925-3261. One other message, and sort of looking at the issues of roads and traffic congestion and the like. And this individual said that they had the opportunity to live in some of the spaces where the ownership of a car isn't necessarily considered a necessity, simply because of the challenges to move about the particular space. It was altogether a luxury, but it was very expensive. Parking was, the licensing and the other fees associated with the car ownership. And he said that when he was sort of back in Cayman after the secondment and speaking to colleagues, someone who shared that in their own home country, whether that's in the region or whether that's in Asia, they found that unlikely for individuals to own a vehicle because the access to being able to purchase one, not just the financing, but to get the vehicle, isn't something that is so easy here. Now, his view, as he had shared previously, speaks to maybe the society's sort of expectation. You go to the bank, you borrow, you buy a car, but getting physical property mightn't be as easy. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
How are you?
Captain Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
In the spirit, flesh.
Son of the one and only Captain Asley Ebanks.
Thank you, man. He's in my eyes a great man, like your father as well.
Yeah. A real man, boy. An era of real men.
Indeed, man. Indeed. We can follow in their footsteps and we'll be half as good, huh?
It's hard,
Yep.
It's hard. It's not an easy walk.
No, man. But we walk with a purpose.
So I was just listening to the gentleman that you had on earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I won't call his name, but I think I believe him to be a former seaman.
Yeah. Well, he did. Yeah. Certainly a strong mariner, right?
Mm-hmm. Very wise man.
Indeed.
Very, very wise man. But I think there's one thing, and that is an idea that is not only him. My wife has advocated that a few times, with the exception of using material from the landfill.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I don't know what could come out of there other than rocks that could be considered useful for that purpose. The strangest thing is with that, it's easy for us to look at a situation and come up with an idea how we're going to approach it, and create a remedy for a situation. But I assure you that what I'm going to say, 9 times out of 10 be corroborated by Ms. Petrie. You see, the problem is when you put those, and this is what I imagine, just based from common sense. and my experience with marine life and environment. As you know, we grew up in the North South. We were on boats every summer, right?
Ain't a chance you could get, man.
And so, what I think needs to be considered with such a process is that when the sand is being removed in a natural way and being replenished in a natural way, sorry, it's not just a straightforward attack on the beach with waves. You have to remember that there are currents. There are currents involved. So when these waves are coming in, if you stand there and you watch those waves, a lot of times they're not coming straight in. They're sort of running off to the left or they're running off to the right. And these are currents that's causing that. And that, in my opinion, is what causes sort of like a sweeping motion with these waves. So it's sweeping across the beach and it's gradually filling in. It's gradually filling in. Like someone taking a trowel and moving cement up a wall and they're raking it to the left or to the right until the area is completely covered. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I'm saying that because I suspect that if we were to put those retainer sections out there with rocks, Hawaii, different places have done it just to sort of, maintain some sort of beach for their tourists. But that's a very large, those sections of geographic are very large landscapes. And so there's different things that come into play, how big.
Yeah. Hello? Caller? Started the day off with a little technical glitch. Looks like it's insane. Are you there, sir? All right. Well, I know that sometimes, we leverage technology heavily and we rely on it, sometimes almost exclusively. Some of us, will not even know that a pen and paper can still be a means of communication. I hope the caller can hear us, and if someone nearby, if he isn't, share. We're not quite sure what transpired. Certainly wasn't anything deliberate or conscious on our end, and I'm hopeful and prayerful that, he's just had a glitch on his and nothing otherwise. But maybe we can pick that discussion up another time. Tomorrow, we can be a part of continuing dialogue. All right, let's call it the day for today and invite you to stay tuned to all of our programming, be a part of all the good things that we have. Until then, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.